How many of them are? Okay. Okay, a very good evening and good afternoon. In fact, I'm Babu Charles here again, once again. Just give me a minute. I should be able to join you in a couple of seconds. Good afternoon, and I'm Babu Charles here. Good to see you again for this particular webinar. And today's topic, as you all know, is riding the collaborative commons wave. That is what I have decided for today. And we are working on the screen share. I'm using a different platform, and I'm not able to share my slides with you, but I do have my slides. So what I thought is, meantime, I'll just try to move, copy and put it on the whiteboard so that you also would be in a position to see what is there in it. Okay, so I would want one of you to just check your audio and just respond, because we are going to have an interactive session. I'm not going to do the talking all the time. I would want you also to interact. I see a lot of students have registered, so I thought I should make it more interactive. Try and see how far I'm able to travel with you, how far you are able to travel with me in terms of sharing of information, in terms of understanding, understanding what I try to aim at. Give me a second, please. Okay, so I'm happy that the slides are in, so we don't have to keep moving here and there. And in fact, this is the title of the presentation for today, Riding the Collaborative Commons Digital Wave. So some of you may find it a little unfamiliar or a little new on this particular term. So I might start with explaining what it is. And I'm trying to relate it to the previous presentation, and I'm trying to derive some ideas from the previous presentation to here. So it is trying to see how this collaborative commons has created new scope for knowledge generation. So if one of you could respond. Unmute your mic and speak up and say how audible I am, whether I'm clear, whether there is distraction. I would be able to be really, 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 I'd be happy to change the tone or change the modulation of the presentation. Could you please speak up, one of you, say how audible it is, so that I also check your receptivity. Can one of you please? Hello? Hello? Mr. Rajarajan, am I audible? Sarana Kumar, am I audible? KB Sarana Kumar. I could see only two of your names here in the attendees. I'm not able to see. Can you just let me know whether it is audible? Hello? Hello? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Slight. So I'm Bobby Charles, as I had mentioned, and I'm happy to see you all. So we'll go on to the subject. So my presentation, I've just organized it in this format. So what do I mean by collaborative commons? How is it impacting our day-to-day lives? What is its potential to transform society? How are we adapting to it, this particular transformation that is happening? And where do we go from here? This is the kind of sequence that I've organized the presentation. I hope it is understandable. If you have any issues, you may raise your hand or you may use the type chat mode, please. So collaborative commons is a dominant model for organizing economic life. So this is something based on Jeremy Rifkin's book, The Zero Marginal Cost Society, where he has promoted this important idea, how things are shaping up and how IoT becomes a very important innovation or a very important platform that can reduce the marginal cost, and how society can move from a kind of an exchange economy to a shareable economy, and how that paradigm shift has been happening. In fact, I have spoken to you in the previous session. So it is a dominant model that is emerging, and it has started emerging. and we are all part of it now. IoT is connecting everyone to everything in a global network driven by extreme productivity. Of course, yes, there is a very mighty comeback, and post-COVID scenarios, the economy is, we thought it would limp back, but I think like we were able to grapple fast, move ahead, and production is in full force. That's what we hear. And I'm experiencing the wait period that is for vehicles and all that, being a consumer myself. So I could see new platforms are introduced. Companies have started taking up different levels of platform, and they have started improving the productivity. And it's extreme in a way, and it's moving faster towards an era of free goods and services. This is also happening side by side, which I'll be explaining to you in the next subsequent slides. We are moving close to zero marginal cost society, but each country in its own ways. So it's very staggered. Some have started, some are in the middle of it, some are just beginning. So it's all a wave-like kind of a situation that is happening around us. And most of the countries are in the Western European context. The Scandinavian countries have got up very fast, and particularly Europe and the US, China, and India, of course, yes. So we'll be discussing about all that. Commons, the oldest form of institutionalized self-managed activity in the world. So we are moving more towards a self-managed economic activity. That is the major transition. That is where I'm locating a lot of scope for collaborative commons. So collaborative commons is like it's group of community searching for community, trying to share resources, develop open innovation platforms, try and reduce the cost of production by using different innovative methodologies, trying to share the resources and try to reuse, redistribute, recycle resources so that they're cutting down on the cost of inputs. So it's a kind of very much loosely connected network where people are there connected and have the wherewithal, use the internet, use IoT, use different platforms to make the best use of, to bring the cost down and kind of share the profit among themselves. So this is something, this is the very crux of what collaborative commons is. We'll try to develop some clarity as we move on. I'm trying to be very specific to the slide as such. So here, when we talk about collaborative commons, it's also social commons. Social commons in the sense it's motivated by collaborative interest. So people, like-minded people join together, and they are driven by deep desire to connect with others and share. So that is something that is very much happening. There's a deep desire to connect with others and share. That's why I said in the previous slide, like you search for communities, you search for people with whom you can network with. So your enterprise, your social enterprise or your enterprise is based on the network, the expansive network that you belong to, the kind of footprint that you maintain in different networks. So it advances open source innovation. So collaborative commons, it has got a lot of social aspects in it, a lot of human attributes to it, not only digital, but social and human attributes are there. So it advances open source innovation. So that is what is happening. Open source, of course, most of the platforms are now open source, and people can log in and get connected and work on it and develop it on their own. Use it for their purposes or develop it for their clients, so on and so forth. There is a lot of transparency and there's a lot of search for community. So this is something that I've just put it in within quotes because I wanted to be meaning exactly what the author had tried to say, and I'm giving my interpretation to it, and I hope like I'm trying to do justice to what I have here. And IoT is a technological soulmate. So without IoT, collaborative commons is not going to be a meaningful entity as such. It's not going to be a meaningful paradigm without IoT. So IoT is the soulmate. It's like the very backbone of collaborative commons, which I'll be explaining to you next slide. So it's a technological soulmate. Why we call it as a soulmate, why Jeremy is calling it as a soulmate is that it optimizes lateral peer production. So people are a network, they collaborate, and they maintain a lateral peer production. It's not vertical. It's kind of flat, lateral, and a lot of networked people are there, peers are there, and they are engaged in production of either goods or services. So it has got universal access. People from different parts of the world can join together and collaborate as long as they are connected to the nodes, and absolutely no problem. Peer production also involves creating their own social currencies. Of course, you know about blockchain and things like that. It's all based on trust, social capital, and reciprocity. So trust becomes the backbone for blockchain and Hyperledger accounting. Okay. So universal access, people from different parts of the world, they can access universally, no barriers to entry. There is a lot of inclusion. So people of different ages can access, people of different gender can work on it, people of different cultures can be involved, no questions asked. The barriers are very well reduced. So billions of people engage in peer-to-peer social networks. So one such very important thing is Uber, and you find Airbnb. These are all very important platforms that we are aware of as of now. So co-create many new economic opportunities. So it's not that one single linear economic opportunity, but people join together and create there's a lot of innovation. There are a lot of economic opportunities coming here and there, and it's connecting people, and people are also getting to know, getting to prosper. Okay. Connects every human in the global community. Everyone is connected. And social capital flourishes. So I'll come back to this later. Social capital, I'm contrasting it to financial capital that we are all aware of. Maybe some of you may be not very well aware of what social capital is. I'll try to explain it in the subsequent slides. Okay, so there is a major transformation that's happening. So you have an exchange economy where goods are produced, people pay for it, buy it. So someone sells it, someone buys it. So there's an exchange, there is money involved. So it is slowly changing to a sharing economy where people produce, they share, they redistribute, they recycle. Of course, there is money involved, but not as much as what you tend to pay in the exchange economy. Okay, so here people are there, and it's peer-to-peer. It's more of peer-to-peer, community-to-community, network-to-network kind of a thing. So exchange value is replaced by shareable value. So what people think, what people want, customized, 3D printing, prosthetics, preparation of prosthetics. Previously, if someone needs a prosthetic, they have to go right from here to Jaipur and get that done there and get it delivered here. It's not so now. People can just say what their requirements and can be customized, and somewhere some person can do the prosthetics, 3D printed, and they may use materials that could be recycled, and they may use materials that don't cost them much, or they don't cost them at all. So that kind of situation has come to the fore, and we are experiencing it. So we are moving from being consumers to prosumers. We are producing. I write articles, I speak. What I'm doing is I'm a prosumer. I'm enjoying. I'm consuming the lecture that I'm trying to give. So I'm just giving it to someone out of my own interest and passion. I'm giving it to people saying, okay, come on, this is what my passion is. Why don't you join and let's share the information. So it's like we produce information, content, music, art, painting, 3D printing. So much is being produced and so much is available on the internet, and people take photographs, fashion, and write-ups, creative writing, stories, ebooks. So all these things are flooding the internet, and it is there for consumption. So production from produce, we also produce, we consume, and we share. So that is a kind of, so people call it as prosumers, producers and consumers themselves. So we have also moved to a gig economy. It's something that has happened the past 20 years, slowly after the advent of internet, where 1960s onwards, the word collaboration becomes widely used. That's what Jeremy also tries to say. And you find the gig economy to be emerging. Gig economy is that it's contrasted to the traditional economy, where you have a workforce, you have a company, and I mean, I have a company, I recruit people, I keep a regular workforce who work from a particular time to a particular time. And it's not so now. So it's slowly changing. It is there traditionally. Recruitment happens and regular workforce is there. Apart from that, there are a set of people. After the advent of internet, after the advent of IoT, and after it has started engulfing 3D printing, so on and so forth, where file sharing protocols, all that has happened. So people have, I mean, you find the sector to be 2 to 3 billion sector and growing at around 14% annually. I refer to ASCOM, and I have the reference in the last slide, so you can also visit the website where I got the information from. So India accounts for 1 billion of global markets. So gig economy, almost 1/3 of what it is, or almost 50% of what it is happening here in India. So it means that it's a huge sector that is emerging by itself. Gig economy is freelancer economy, a freelancer market. So I have a skill. I'm a counselor. I want to be a counselor. I can be a counselor. I don't have to go attach myself to a college or a hospital. I just can say that I'm a counselor and I'm available at this website or application. You just get in touch, and people pay, and our companies recruit, hire me for a temporary basis, or I may be an IT consultant for a project. I may be retired from, maybe I'm returning from US. I have my time, but I just have to really, I mean, I'm trained in a particular platform, and I have my services to be, that could be shared or provided to people for a cost, minimum cost. So I don't want to go to a regular place to work. So I say, okay, come on, I'm ready. I'm a musician. I can just go to the local hotel and play a gig. Or I'm an artist. I'm a dancer. I may just go perform in a particular place and get paid for that class. So I'm not a regular person as such. I'm just a freelancer available on call whenever there is a possibility to do so. So it's a 15. I mean, India has got about 15 million freelancers. All this has grown after the advent of the digital age, because of we belong to an information society. People get connected easily, and one fine example, if you want me to give you, it is the Urban Company. I'm not promoting any company for that matter. Please don't take it like that. I'm used to this, and my family is used to it. When it was Urban Club and Urban Company, we are using it. So whenever we require someone for a particular service, so we call them, inform them, and they come and complete it and take money for it and pay a commission to the company. So that's what I mean by saying gig economy. So I'll get back to it later. And there is something that is dominantly emerging, very predominant. It's called the circular economy. I think you must be very familiar with this. It's regenerative in design. It's regenerative. It's not degenerative. It's not like, okay, make waste, throw it into the waste. It's not like that. You take from the nature, you make something and throw it back into the nature as a waste. No, it's not like that. It's like cradle to cradle kind of a model, where you try to decouple growth. Okay, growth happens some way. Okay, the particular country is growing, but growing doesn't impact the finite resources of that particular country. Growth happens independent of the consumption of finite resources. So it means that people have started using resources that could be regenerated, that people have started avoiding waste, people have started recycling, reusing, and redistributing the resources that they have at hand. It's cradle to cradle. So your life cycle of the product is from the cradle to the cradle. You use inputs, the material that are recyclable, redistributable, reusable, and like moving away from fossil fuel to electric cars. That's a kind of transition that we are in. So electric cars, even then, we are using quantum computing to just get to know how we can make the batteries efficient, how we can make the batteries more efficient by giving in more in less space or less weight, less mass giving more. So it's more of restorative, regenerative kind of system that we are in. So it's based on three principles. I'm referring to Ellen MacArthur Foundation, who are a major promoter of circular business models, circular economy. I'm very fond of the circular business models, and most of it I base it on the perspective that I am speaking to you now, which I'll get back to you in the last slide. So we are also, it's based on three principles. So design out waste and pollution. Even during the design phase, don't think of waste and pollution. We just take that out of waste and pollution. So as engineers, as IT engineers, you're going to design. So even at the design phase, you eliminate waste and pollution. Whatever is going to be a waste, you eliminate that. Whatever is going to be a polluting, you eliminate that. Or I eliminate it, whatever. Keep products and materials in use. So you use materials. I use materials, products that I can use, and at the same time I'm regenerating the systems. I'm not trying to destroy the ecosystem, but I'm trying to regenerate it twice as much or thrice as much of what I'm using the resources. So that is something that is the founding basis for circular business models. And you have this aggregator business models. Aggregator, as you know, so one company is there. There are a lot of providers. They just aggregate and just try to provide services to customers who come from different parts of the world, and it happens. So platform-based business models. All these things are very important advent, and IoT has in fact made it much easier. So we have moved from markets to networks. So previously, if we need to buy something, we go to the market. It's not so now. We can go to a network. You can just go to even independent providers. So there, you can just go there, and it's more of community network kind of thing. Slowly emerging. Even in India, it's emerging, particularly among the affluent and particularly among people who are very closely connected in communities. It's emerging. I can give you another examples of that. So we are moving away from ownership. People don't want to own; they just would want access. So if I would delay buying my car because I know, okay, one phone call I can get a car at my doorstep, and it's going to be easy for me to travel. So access, I can access a car rather than owning a car. So this is something that we know. And we are moving away from self-interest to collaborative interest, rags to rich dream to sustainable quality of life. And this new generation, that is you, not me, you are the new generation, is socially embedded with a lot of social consciousness and entrepreneurially self-directed. You kind of, millennials are becoming social entrepreneurs, more of entrepreneurs. And you have enough number of examples before you. And most of them the very platform that we are using are developed by millennials like you, people like you, less than 35 years of age or 40 years of age maximum. So that's something that is happening. And there's a new kind of a knowledge that is emerging. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So new understanding of GDP. GDP is the gross domestic product. It is assessed in terms of the gross product and services that are produced in a particular country in a particular point in time. So we try to convert that into a particular number that is mostly in terms of crores of rupees or billions of rupees. So we just convert that into a number. It's more quantitative. But that's becoming slowly qualitative. It's trying to include quality of life, standard of living, life chances into it. So that is a new knowledge that has emerged over a period of time. And the main precursor to this emergence is the intangible economy. It's not tangible. It's not money alone. It's intangible. There is a lot of value. There is a lot of value created. There is a lot of quality There is a lot of reuse properties. There is a lot of redistribution properties, which are all intangible. These are all intangible things that join together and develop some more value, which has not been captured so far. It's slowly being captured now. So we need to have a renewed understanding about GDP. So I was telling you, Internet of Things has got the capacity to reduce cost, particularly the marginal cost, because it has got exponential reach. And one ebook, the production cost may be $1, but that when that one ebook reaches to 1,000 readers, the production cost becomes less than, almost zero, because like one ebook, when it's a physical copy, it's going to cost $10 or maybe $5. Even that $1, if it has to reach to 1,000 people, the postage has to be paid. The courier has to take it. There is a lot of carbon footprints. There is a lot of logistics involved, and people have to give their time to receive the book and read it, so on and so forth. So those costs are all reduced, and input cost is also reduced, because we are not going to buy paper, we are not going to buy cardboard, we are not going to print it, we are not going to do anything. Just have to type it and keep it there. So it's a demat form, dematerialized form. So it's not a real material, physical material as such. So the theory is that when this happens, the initial investment invested on producing this reduces gradually, and at one point it might even reach to the point of zero, because if the consumers are more, they're going to pay, or even not pay, whatever the production cost is going to be equal or more to what we have distributed, to whom we have distributed, at what cost. So all these things are something that this is my understanding of what it is. So when it reduces zero, profit will narrow down. So GDP becomes meaningless, because GDP will go down. At one point, even people might get it for free, like the way we get free resources from the internet, open access, things like that. When goods and services become free, fewer purchases are made. So it is again trying to kind of that's where we are grappling with the idea of the economy doing well or not doing well. How do we judge that? So we have to be very, very careful in trying and understanding this. So recycle and redistribution and shareable economy creates loss, increases usable cycle. So there is scope to recycle and redistribute. So people don't buy again. People use it, and it is going to create a loss in the GDP. So access over ownership. So less cars are purchased, or less bikes are purchased, or less TVs are purchased, whatever it is. Less people go to the movie theater. Most of them, they stay at home, watch Amazon or Netflix. So that is something that is happening. So when artificial intelligent robots, they reduce labor force, purchase power is also reduced. Proliferation of prosumers. When prosumers become more, the entire economic activity is migrated to a shareable economy. A lot of people produce. They are at home, they have a studio. I know a lot of my friends are musicians, and they work at home, do the music and put it on the internet, or put it on SoundCloud and distribute it. So on and so forth happens. Like a lot of music is made. When you go to Amazon Music, you'll find particularly new age ambient music. A lot of people share it and get a minimum amount paid for it. And it's all homegrown. It's just done in the studio, just an iPad and a synthesizer. That's it, Kalas, and a MIDI keyboard. That's it, and not much investment. And they might get their investment cost returned in a couple of months, when a lot of people start listening to it. So this is what I mean by saying prosumers. I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and I'm also putting it, sharing it. And Amazon may give a premium version or give a free version, and my songs may be there in the free version. So free is also there. There is a kind of a model called freemium, where it's free at one point and becomes premium at one point. So if my songs are for good quality, it goes to a premium level. Or if it is okay, I say, okay, no, not much royalty, don't worry, let people enjoy, then it goes to a free model as such. So it becomes, previously it was not so. I'll have to, when I need to buy a tape. Previously we had this magnetic tape, so we had to go buy. sometimes record, and wait for days to really get the cassette to our tape recorder. I remember going to the town, getting it recorded, waiting for the disc to come. Those days it used to be a big disc that used for recording, or the real original tapes that used to come. So the person sound recorder will be recording it, and sometimes we go wait there for hours together to get the tape and come. It's not so now. If you want to listen to music, you just tap one button. That's it. You get to listen. So this is what the world has become now. So knowledge is everywhere. Entertainment is everywhere. Okay, so in a world dominated by intangibles, there are a few slides. Sorry. Okay, good. So anyway, okay. So anyway, we are right in time. Thanks. I was thinking that I had exhausted my slide, and it's too. Okay. So in a world dominated by intangibles, so intangible is something that is not tangible, not physical. My phone is intangible. I mean, my phone is tangible. My pencil pen is intangible. My laptop or my tab is intangible. It has got physical properties. I can touch. I can feel. I know it is there. I can see it. But intangible is something. It's value. It's a value. It's not. You can't see it. You can only sense it. Make sense of it, and you can measure it. But qualitatively, you can measure it. Quantitatively, it is a little difficult. So people have started understanding. Even corporates have started focusing on this. Corporates. Okay, what is the intangible? Particularly in IT industry, IT is all DMAT. I mean, software is an intangible creation. People can see it, but the value of it, the value it adds to a particular business, people may not be able to really measure in terms of quantity, except for the output. Okay, the software I paid $100, and now it is giving me $1,000, so I made a profit of $900. But how far it is going to be there, how useful it is going to be, what kind of a customer experience it created, did the customer come back, or did the customer leave because of the software bug, or is it that it attracted more people? Is there a value addition? Okay, is there an update available for free of cost, or is it something that is very robust? Is it virus free? All that is all intangible value that is there added to a particular software. So how would you measure that? That is all. That is a major question that we are asking, because we have data, we have information. So data creates information. You align data. Data are bits and pieces of information. So you align it and make it as a meaningful information. So meaningful information you interpret, and the way you interpret creates a kind of a knowledge. Okay, what do you use the data for? What is your inference? And how is that converted into knowledge? How is that codified? How is that made into something that is explicit in terms of model, in terms of understanding? So when it comes to knowledge, there are two types of knowledge. One is something that is tacit. Tacit is you can qualitatively sense it, but it is there within the communication patterns that are there. Another one is explicit. It's there in any organization. It's there, and particularly this PowerPoint is a tacit, explicit knowledge, because I've read something, I've just taken notes, put it here, and trying to explain it based on my own understanding. You can see it. And a business model is something that is very, very explicit. Company's policy is something that is very, very explicit. A procedure is something that is very explicit. A software kind of process, the code that you make is something that is very explicit. So tacit is something that is felt, that is understood, that is interpreted, that is inferred, that is more qualitative, more emotions of it, and within people, peer to peer. So this tacit knowledge also has an equal share. That is what is happening now. We are going to the customers. We are going to the customer. We want to understand how they feel, what is their experience, what their family life is, how passionate they are about the product, about the service. Are they really engaged? So business models have started talking about channels. Okay, we'll have to approach a customer here. We'll have to, okay, you have this channel so that the customer gets a feel of the product or the service. You have this channel so that they give an evaluation and feedback of the product. You have a channel here where they purchase it, either online or offline. And you have a channel where you just try to provide them with after-sales service and you give updates, so on and so forth. So all that is trying to keep the customer and their experiences intact. So an engaged customer, anywhere in healthcare or education or any office, any company, any corporate, any business, customer experience is something that is very, very important. So customer experience is intangible. So how do you capture that knowledge? How do you capture that information? And how do you use it for further enhancing your product or service? So all that becomes a very important source of knowledge in particular context where we are talking about intangibles. So there's a capitalism without capital. How to? I was just wondering how is it possible? And so it talks about the intangible economy that we are in, or slowly moving towards, where it will become a dominant paradigm for reference in future. So it's going to be like that. So moving from finance capital to social capital. So there is also, I was just trying to say what social capital is. Social capital is a concept coined by Robert Putnam, an Italian sociologist who came up with the idea of social capital. It's just saying, okay, there is mutuality. As human beings, apart from transacting finance capital, we also transact on a day-to-day basis. We transact trust. We reciprocate. We are trustworthy ourselves and we trust others. We reciprocate. It's mutual. So we build that capital which keeps the society going. So collaborative commons is building that capital, social capital, apart from finance capital, where it's more peer-to-peer, human-to-human, and vast network, global network. There's a lot of knowledge, not only explicit knowledge that is codified, that's theoretical, conceptual, but something that is felt, something that is experienced, something that is a lived experience, and kind of it's a lived experience, and we move on, and kind of move from one stage to the other, and that is also there, documenting how can we live out. During when we talk to customers without understanding their lived experience with the service of the product, how we are going to move. Excuse me. Okay. Sorry. So social enterprise versus enterprise is like, okay, social capital, sorry. So getting that in, getting people's experiences, people's lived experiences about the product or service, that is also knowledge that we need to try and derive. So IoT has created pathways for developing channels to engage the customer. At the same time, it has also developed channels to gain their experience and knowledge about the product or the service. That is something that it is possible in today's world. So data is everywhere, so is information. And data and information, they are the precursor to knowledge. So data is something that contributes to information. Information is something that is contributing to knowledge. So where do we go from here? Where have I gone from here? So what I have done is last session I was talking about my social enterprise, my idea and my proposal. So keeping this all in mind, I was just trying to develop a kind of prototype. Prototype in the sense like it's a written proposal, and even a written codified written proposal. You consider it as a prototype or a minimum viable product, which is becoming workable at some point in time. But you can't patent it, because when you go for patent is again an intangible thing. I forgot to mention patent. IPR is something intangible. Your license license is something that is intangible. Your license to provide something is intangible. That is worth more than what we think of. So patent is worth more than what we think of, and patent is knowledge. So all these things are possible. So I cannot go for because it's not an engineering product. It's a social process. It's a product. It's a service. So when I talked to my auditor, he was saying like it's a bit difficult. You maybe go for copyright or whatever. Then I just dropped that idea because knowledge I consider it's for everyone. It's common, and I put all my papers in my and I believe in sharing of knowledge, and I believe in sharing of knowledge. I try to build on it, and I have posted all my all my papers, all my concept notes, unpublished notes in my blogspot, and it's readily available. You can also access whenever you want to. So it's all there. So that is something I want to tell. And my proposal that I was discussing about is like trying to develop an interface using Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, trying to get connected to resources where whatever resources that people could afford in terms of time, in terms of resources like pedagogical resources, teaching, learning resources, in terms of content. So this could be there will be different nodes, people volunteering their time in terms of producing something or in terms of meeting a particular person. So it's all based on volunteers who would get connected to students, particularly from the marginalized sections of the society who don't have access to it, who don't have access to such resources, because like us people coming from the middle class or upper middle class, we have access to internet and resources, but most of the parts of South India where I have traveled, most of the children don't have access. They don't have access to even devices, leave alone having access to information and online classes and all that. So even now, some of the children with whom we were working didn't have access to online classes. So we are talking about online class and all that. So there's so much of digital divide. So my idea is to take online educational resources to people who don't have that kind of space. So completely built around the voluntary network, because I can build a corporate and I don't want to go for investments. At one point I thought of it, then I thought, okay, let me build on it on my own at my own time and space. So kind of building it based on voluntarism. People, retired people, give their time, 10 minutes or 15 minutes per day, develop a content or speak to people who would want some advice or clarify certain doubts to people who. But the only problem that we have here in India is the access to devices, first thing. So what do we do with that? So we thought of, at one point I got connected to an organization where my former principal and secretary was the CEO, and he invited me and he said, why don't you take that up and why don't you look after programs? So I was managing programs before I joined here. We thought, okay, we'll work out on it, and then I proposed it, and he was also thinking in similar terms. And when we went into the community, we thought, okay, this is going to be a viable product and service. Then we spoke to a funder who was in the UK and said, okay, fine. And there was a very important funding opportunity that came through. And so initially we were given with 2 community digital platforms, having the state-of-the-art technology. It has got a projector. The projector is connected to a cybernetics camera. The cybernetics camera, in fact, converts any medium where the projection falls into a touch medium. So children can go play, paint with a pen, stylus pen. It's given with a pen. So it is projected and it's 100 inches diagonal. So it is like a giant TV. But unfortunately, most of the communities don't have a wall to project mountain. In fact, that's reality. So they can project it and paint, and they were handwriting, they were writing their names. Some of them had forgotten to write their names because like they were out of school for a very long time. And most of them belong to 5th, 6th standard. So, and there's a laptop connected to the cybernetics, connected to the projector. The projected medium is touch friendly. You can manipulate, and there's a software called IntelliSpace. And IntelliSpace has got a content that is NASA grade. That is content used in Yale University, Princeton, and whatnot. So the content is so fabulous and good for a community. So children who don't even know how a rocket works, how a rocket is projected, or how a flight, what is a flight, what is a inner working of a plane, or what is the mechanics of a plane, or what is the mechanics of a cycle, or what is the mechanics of a scooter or a motorcycle. They've got access to 3D images. They can just go and explore if they want to. It's a community platform, so 10 to 20 children come and work, and there's a volunteer facilitator who, and there are few students few people who are trained by the organization who go there to the community to explain all this. So this is just a starting stage. So this is possible, and the initial investment maybe 100,000 or so, and the funder was also equally happy, saying that okay, we'll bring in, why not? We'll take up about 17 to 18 communities and try to work on it. So and study the impact of what it is. So, this is the consequence that I could create based on my limited understanding. I accept that, but it's doable, and it doesn't cost much, and it's carrying a lot of benefit. It creates a lot of intangible value, because previously the organization was providing video photography workshops, videography workshops. So children now are making, they know how to click quality photographs and project it on screen and see where the problem is. Workshops are conducted collaboratively. So we've tried to take it to the next level, connect it to 100 communities, take 100 systems as such and try to connect it to 100 communities, and have one nodal place where content could be created. Then we thought about creating content, curating our content. So what type of knowledge are we going to generate? Then we thought, okay, we'll ask the teachers. We'll say, what do you think your children should know? And get the content from them and give it. Why not? And talk to senior students to create content. Why not? So when we have a situation where there was no content, there was no access, so created access, and at least minimum content where they can share it. And it's all possible based on Internet of Things. And one point we even thought of connecting it to different nodes. Of course, that is going to be a long-term plan. No, that's my PhD. So I'm just working on it very intensely. Not intensely, but kind of trying to incubate it in my mind and try and see where I take this to the next level. So that is my PhD I'm working on, and trying to understand the impact. So let me stop here. I just gave you a brief overview about, if you have any clarifications, you may type. Next time we'll try to meet in teams so that you should be able to interact also. So I'm happy, very happy that 56 have stayed on. One person joined and I think they left. And if you could chat your experience, or we'll create a poll. Okay. Okay, I like the content. Yes, not at all. I'm not going to say no. Kind of okay. Okay, so I've given this one, so you can take that poll. It should be available. So you can give your responses. It's been 55 minutes. Okay, 100% has said, okay, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I like the content. 100% has given. I don't know how many of you have really given your responses. I'm not able to see that. I like more of interaction. You speaking to you. I'm a kind of person who would want to. At times, I'm not knowing what my participants are engaged in. Whether okay, thank you, and I'll take a screenshot of it and keep so that I can show it to my family. Say that okay, my participants really like my content 100%. So thank you very much. That's fine. Okay. So I'm just going to ask you. Okay, you can give your chat. You can next time. What type of session do you want? What do you like in that session? And what kind of a session would you like to have? Because I'm planning for a weekly session, kind of build a team, set of students, and take it to the next level. Kind of innovate, kind of develop something, develop novel ideas, address community issues, and something that could be taken to the next level. Okay, I'll again end this poll. Reset poll. Okay, polls. What is happening? Add a new poll. Okay. Okay, you can chat. You can just put it in the chat box. The chat box is here, and I can send to everybody. What did you like the most? If you want to leave early, please type your answers and you can go. That's because I've spent some time working on it, and so what did you like the most? So you can type your comment. Chat mode, what is this? Do not mark as answer. Question and answer mode. Okay. Type your comment. Mark as answer. Okay. You may type your content. You may type your comment. Yes? What did you like the most? And how would you want the session to be progressing? Do you think that pace is okay, or do you think that my ideas are too far-fetched, you're not able to catch up? Feel free, be critical, nothing wrong. Don't think that okay, someone who's there, he's got an authority. No, I consider only my knowledge as power. I don't have anything beyond that. I can only impress you with my knowledge and not with my power, positional power. No. So you can say so that I correct my knowledge. After all, I'm responsible for your learning, like the way you are responsible for your learning. So I don't want you to have disinformation in your head and move in a direction completely contrary to what an average understanding is. You may go, you may innovate, but if you are creative, if you are innovative, I'm happy. But if it is damaging you, then I'll feel very sorry. So let me know. Give your comments on that. Give your comments on it. So we try to move on. What I've done is I've just tried to give my understanding, and I'm also experimenting. I'm not innovating. I'm trying to experiment with my ideas, try and test what works, what doesn't work, and trying to develop the evidence for what I speak. And that's why you see references. So these are the references that I have. I've gone through whatever I put in. I've tried to acknowledge here. So that's how I try to develop my perspective. Okay, so take a minute to just give. I've taken 1 hour to speak to you. I think you should take 1 minute to give your opinion. Just say what you like the most, what you didn't like, or how do you think this should be taken forward. Then we go. Thank you. Yes. 1 minute. for those who are hearing impaired, maybe I should use the what did you say? Okay, why this is here? Did you like the most? What did you like the most? Yes. Okay, so I'll put a poll again. This is easier, millennium. Most. Okay. Content. Style of presentation. Okay. Preview and publish. So there's a poll. I think you can easily, if you're there, you can just give your choices. Content. Okay, you didn't like the style of presentation. Okay, so this is also fine. Saying 100% in poll. Is a poll. Add a new poll. Okay. What did you like in the content? What did you like in the content in the sense the ideas were very fresh. Ideas were okay, this is it. Okay. Review, publish. So there is what did you like in the content? The ideas were very fresh, the ideas were convincing, the ideas were inspiring. Of course, these, okay. That too, people only click the first response. They don't even give anything beyond that. First response, poll. Typically a millennial behavior. Typically a neo-millennial digital savvy behavior. Okay, anyway, I'm happy. So thank you very much. I'm just taking a screens out of what it is. End poll, and thank you very much. I think we should, okay. Reset poll. I'm going to add a new poll. Next session and continue like the previous session. Okay, yes. No. Need change. Okay, review, publish. Because I've given 1 hour of my time, so I want you to give, okay. So that is again, yes. I don't know how many of you are giving I'm not able to get all the details here. So I should go to Menti and, okay, thank you very much. I'm happy. Next session, next Saturday, maybe I should think of some new themes. Maybe I'm keen to meet you again. thank you very much. Enjoy your Saturday evening and have a fabulous Sunday. Enjoy. Thank you very much. I've started thinking of my Sunday. So thank you very much. One day, relax, be with the family, be happy. Of course, you are with the family, but be happy, enjoy. Thank you very much. Bye. So I'm going to thank you, thank you, thank you.